welcome to the Backyard Machine Shop. Well guys, we're going to start the project here on the mower. Now this is a Lazer Z, Exmark Lazer Z 52-inch mower. Now the deck's not on it. It looks kind of funny. That's why. It's actually outside where it's going to get its work done to it. But anyway, we got this in here. What we're going to have to do is we're going to have to end up fitting a motor to it. So I mean, this mower is, I think, is a 2005 model. It had like 1,400 hours on the hour meter, but I think that's how many hours was on the first motor. I think its motor's been replaced once before, and the second motor it's done now. So just a few things needs attention on it. One is the seat, of having the seat recovered, and it's out in the shop being done. There's a hydraulic pump needs to be rebuilt. It's got a little leak in it, and then while I'm in there, I'm going to do both of them. I've already bought both kits, and they're here ready to go. But the major issue is it's got a bad motor, and we're going to replace the motor with a Harbor Freight 670. I know that everybody's going to come in and say, you know, use an OEM or a Briggs or a Kohler or something like that to replace it, but I've weighed all my options. First of all, it's a 2005 mower. Originally I was going to purchase a new Harbor Freight, I mean not a Harbor Freight, but a Kohler engine to go in here, and the replacement engine's about, I found one for $1,700 or so, up to $2,500, according where you look, but the best deal I could find was like $1,700. And the second option would have been to use a Kohler motor like that was on here, which was not the original, but it would work. Same dimensions, everything. It's just that it wasn't the original motor. So you can find one of them for around $1,200 or $1,300. I looked everywhere, and I tell you what. Hold on, I'll show you what I'm. All right, guys. So here's what I'm ended up with. Now this is the original or the Kohler engine that was on it when I got the mower, and like I said, from what I can see, this wasn't the original. It had been replaced before. This is the cheaper Kohler motor with the that was about $1,200. The same size as a 24 horse or 23 horse, something like that. But what's wrong with this motor is here's the connecting rod, and so I haven't taken the motor apart. The back plate's been taken off, but I dug the connecting rod out of it, what's left of the connecting rod out of it, and the piston's still up in the cylinder, and it's got a little chip in the cylinder. So one of the options was to rebuild this motor, and I still may do that. You can pick up used parts pretty cheap. It needs a crankshaft. It damaged the crankshaft, and a couple other things. So that's where I'm at with that. That's why this was really a no-go rebuilding. Again, like I said, a replacement motor, you can get one like this one for $1,200. You can get the original motor, I think, had ball bearings in it instead of the plain bearing. But anyway, that motor runs around $1,700 to $2,500. And the mower, you know, like I said, was 2005. So I've made a decision to replace it with a Predator 670 from Harbor Freight. Everybody's got good things to say about this motor. I've cranked it up and ran it. It runs good. A few things I'm going to do to it that's been recommended, like change the spark plugs, change the fuel filter, you know, put another oil filter on it. I've ran it a little while, and I'm going to drain the oil out and redo all that before I put it on the mower. But anyway, these videos are about me. I'm in the process now where I need to start fitting this. There's a good bit of difference in the base plate of this one and the base plate of this one. So in the mower itself is drilled for the base plate on this one, so it's not like it's adjustable. So what we've got here, first thing we're going to build a new base plate. This motor, there's the shaft center from bottom is 7/8 difference. I can turn them around and you can see what I'm talking about. Alright, so this center height and this center height 7/8 difference. So we're going to build a base plate that's going to be 7/8 thick. And then what we'll do is we'll drill and tap it for this motor mount and the hole pattern in the lawnmower. And so that's one of our parts we got to make. So I've got a piece of 1 inch here that we're going to do that with. The next thing we have to do, these are vertical shaft motors. I'm sorry, horizontal shaft motors. And the way that the motors work, so the actual rear of the crank drives a clutch, an electronic clutch, which is right here. Here, let's turn this around and I'll show you what's going on here. Electronic clutch, it actually drives the belts on the mower for the deck. And then back around, you have a PTO shaft that comes off the front of the mower that bolts to the flywheel, and this actually drives the hydraulic pumps. So we're going to have to make since the bolt pattern is different, a couple other things are different. We're actually going to make a stub shaft or adapter shaft out of this 4-inch aluminum. It's going to be about 2.5 inches thick. You got the prints drawn up. Then we're going to come back and make the actual drive shaft out of this piece of 2 7/16. So, 2 7/16 material. So we got to make both of those parts. Trying to think if there was anything else we have to make. We're going to have to make a couple bushings and things like that for it to fit. So however, there's going to be a good bit of machine work. It's going to be simple stuff, but it's a fair amount of machine work. So I hope you stay by and watch and enjoy, and I'm going to try to cover everything. So like I said, I've already put the 670 up, had it running. The Kohler engine, eventually I'm going to try to rebuild it if it's rebuildable. I hadn't pulled it completely apart yet, but it's got a bad rod, and we'll see what we can do about that. So for right now, we're going to put the 670 in it, and I know that's not everybody's favorite answer, but mainly because it's Asian made or overseas. But honestly, from what I gather, I know Briggs & Stratton still builds their motors here in the U.S. There's actually a shop here local that builds, I don't know if they build the V-twins or not, but they build one of the bigger motors for lawnmowers. I think they build the single cylinders though, because they were talking about their kind of low in work because everybody's going to the V-twins. But don't hold me on that, I'm not sure. But from what I can read, Kohler smaller engines, and I don't know if they consider this a smaller one or not, somebody might can correct me, but they're made overseas now, so you really and truly that issue is as a moot point. But like I said, I looked into Briggs & Stratton. I couldn't find what I needed there. Honda makes an engine, and this is basically a Honda clone. So everything lays out just like a Honda. If I ever needed to change this one, I can throw a Honda right on there with all the parts already adapted for it. Alright guys, so we're going to look at take a look at the back of the lawnmower here, and I'm going to flip the seat up and see if I can't show you what's going on here. Alright, so the motor mounts are right here. Like I said, they're drilled for the Kohler engine, and so the Harbor Freight has to be adapted plus the height. And the reason I'm changing the height, it would probably work without changing that, but I want to use the same belts that came on the motor. That way I don't have to go around trying to fit them and all that stuff. So, but here's the motor mounts, the 4 motor mounts for the Honda engine, for the Kohler engine. And if you look back here, here's one of the hydraulic pumps, and there's another hydraulic pump on this side, and it's got an idler that pulls the belt. So motor mounts in here. You have a drive shaft that comes up through here, and then the PTO or the rear shaft that drives the blades comes through a mule belt, goes up to the deck, and then there's belts on the decking. So what we're going to start out with, I'm going to take some more of this stuff off and to where we can get to everything really good and see if we can start working on it. Alright guys, so what we have here, we have the base plate for that motor, and we need to machine this down to 7/8, and we're going to do that with this 2-inch, actually a 3-inch face mill. So let's see where we at here. We just want to take off we got it kind of just sitting here natural. We just want to clean it up and get it squared up. When we flip it over, we'll have a good flat surface. Okay, we got we have a nice pattern, nice crisscross pattern, nice finish on it, which it really don't matter. We're going to flip it over and we're going to do the other side. We got it flipped over. We're fixing to take. We need to take this down to 7/8. Let me get a mic. All right, so currently we are at we're still over an inch, so we're like 1 inch and 10 thousandths. Okay. So we're going to take our DR. Let's see if we can take 40 thousandths. Also do it even 50. So now we're starting to drill the holes for the motor mount. Now what I did is I come in here and I located center, and normally what I would do would be to web it with the edge finder on both ends, on both X and Y axes, but my head's not out far enough and I don't feel like messing with it. So what I did is I just located approximate center. It really doesn't matter. The whole job's going to work from center, but I did drill a hole in this center, and this is my datum, and that way if I ever have to relocate it for any reason, I can pick back up on that hole. So we're at our first location for our first bolt, and we're going to drill it with a 5/16 drill bit. Not even going to worry about spot drilling it. We're just going to go in and drill it, and then run a tap down through it. And we have 8 holes to locate this way. We have 8 holes, and then we're going to spot 2 places just in case. I'll explain that later, but anyway, here we go. So we're not going to we're just going to go and drill and tap all the way through. We just got a 3/8 spiral tap. And all I do usually is I just drop it in low gear and I'm power tapping. Put a little juice to it. Alright, we need to move to our next location, which we will keep our X location, and we need to move back to 3125 on the negative side. So right, there's the holes for the Predator motor. And we're going to do the holes for the motor mount in the mower. Okay, so let's go to I'll have to excuse me, I got 36250. Okay. $187. $520. All right, that should be